Our first speaker of the day is the partner at Deloitte, Mr. Rajesh Kannan. And he's going to speak on IoT testing and ensuring end-to-end reliability.
Thank you. I'll come this side so I know that doesn't work. And don't apologize for the glitches. Testing exists because of glitches. Good morning all. My name is Rajesh Kannan. I'm a partner at Deloitte and lead the quality engineering testing services. The first time I presented Uniform was in 2011. And we consecutively presented for about 5-6 years. What you see here, the India Testing Award, India Testing Leagues, are the brain chain that I had to sit and work with Unicorn in 2011. So I'm proud that I'm back here. I'm at a loss of a little bit of grey hairs, but I'm glad that I didn't lose the touch. So the first thing when somebody asks me, what do Bangaloreans do to maintain work-life balance, right? We do Bangalore traffic. So that's the only place where you get to think about yourself. If you're traveling with family, that's the only place that you spend time with the family. If you're with friends, that's the only time you connect with the friends. So that's the only time I got to think about what I'm going to say today, right? So first of all, thanks a lot. And the reason why I said that, thanks to you to beat the bank traffic to be here on time. So thank you all for being here. And I'm glad to be in the testing committee, right? So wherever you go, you always feel belong when you are with the testing committees. When I speak to my clients, we speak to multiple clients, right? They always ask, why do we need testing? Question number 2, why do you need testers? So you're always in the mode that you're proving yourself, but when you're here, you don't have to prove yourself. You belong to each other, and I'm glad to be here as a testing committee. So I would rather introduce myself. I'm Rajesh Kannan, I'm a tester. That is the way I would like to introduce myself. So the topic that I want to present is on IoT. And caveat, I do not agree with the word called IoT, right? So how many of you, this is a slide changer, how many, raise your hands if you think it's an IoT device. There's no internet here between this and that laptop, right? It's connected via Bluetooth. So I would rather term, I do not want it to be IoT, I want it to be NOT. It was a network of devices, things, right? So we just restrict our thought towards what's connected to internet, what's connected to things, right? We need to broad base our thought. So I would rather call it as NOT. So it's like calling India versus Bharat, right? India is not Bharat, Bharat is not India, IoT is not IoT, it is NOT. So we stick to IoT for the time being. And I don't want to overemphasize the importance of IoT, right? So startup slow. We wanted to have connected devices, we wanted to have devices that work for us. So one thing I always noticed was, whenever we speak to our clients, we always talk about software testing. But as we progressively spoke to many of our clients, if you notice the clients are also transforming. One is the transformation from SDLC to Agile, CAC, DevOps. But if you notice underneath, our clients are also transforming from software companies to system companies. Be it medical devices, be it your manufacturing devices. So I speak to a different clients from different domains. And everybody says, guys, you are just talking about software testing. We have moved on. Now my systems, I speak to my engineering firm, they saying that, look, my systems have moved from ERP to the end-to-end integrity. Like I want my systems to be talking to my front-end machine, be it my lathes, be it my manufacturing unit, where I can measure what's coming in, feed it to my ERP system, then can produce a financial report on what's I'm going to sell. So I'm not going to be restricting myself to the software part of it. I'm not just spilling over to the end of it, right? So like medical devices. Healthcare, I tell you, look, I have my devices on the folks. I want to be monitoring you have wearable devices, you have everything. Those are still, I'm saying that we are not even scratched the surface of systems testing, right? We are not even touched what a system can do. And if you see the market, there are about 21 billion individual units of system that we connected to the internet, right? I mean, not just internet. We are going beyond internet. People are doing Tesla, X-Link, Y-Link, right? So you have more modes of connecting to a device, not just internet, but your Bluetooth, your wired devices, or even physical devices. So the number of systems are going to go drastically up to 21 billion connected devices. People are going to spend about 4.8 trillion, right? So this is a spend on IoT, and they're going to earn about 1.5 trillion. I mean, if I was a businessman, it doesn't make sense, right? I'm spending 4.8 trillion, but I'm just earning 1.5 trillion. But remember, this was the initial nascent stage of IoT, right? People are already earning on a business which is nascent. So if you're a software, I mean, if you're a startup firm, is equal to making a profit in the year one, right? So IoT is already broken even if it's asking. So they already started showing revenues and profit. And 90% of the folks, this is a survey that is done for the senior folks, 90% of the top executive ladies feel that IoT will be critical to their business, right? And then these are business leaders, not software leaders, right? You talk to any of the automotive manufacturer, healthcare, or device manufacturer, they feel that IoT is the thing which will help us connect, right? And also, what you see is the number of applications, be it medical devices, smart farming is always taken off, right? Surprisingly, it is not the tech sector that is picked up IoT. Right? Any guesses which are the industries that are actually adopting IoT on the ground? Retailers, farmers, right? Your kirana shops are actually using IoT much better than most of the other development. Your farmers are using a tech. I have a friend who used drones to check what is the productivity that he will get, the yield he'll get, just by telling the drone, finding out what he produces tomatoes, and then other seasons he'll do what is it? Avocados. So the drone monitors number of seeds, number of avocados. It just goes out, takes a visual image, and there's a software which actually measures number of avocados he's going to get, and he multiplies that by weight. He actually gets a yield. So he just sends the drone on every day, right? And he just had to know how to, he learned how to use the drone. Feeds the software, he is getting a view of what is my yield going to be for this 3 months. And if you know, I mean, these are short yield, right? Tomatoes what? 90 days, or avocados about 50 days. So and he can predict this yield the moment the flowers bloom. So people are adopting IoT much more than this, but who's going to test that, right? We don't have people who are going to test it, right? So honestly, how many of you have thought about challenges in IoT? Like, what do you think are the challenges in IoT?
Black box.
Yeah.
It's a black box for us. We are testers. We just see the thing.
Yeah.
We just need to test it.
Correct.
We don't know how it works inside. We can't look at the code pretty much always.
Yes.
So we need to just somehow test it. We also need to understand the requirements or the user desires really well. So we need to know the domain, where to use and how it's used. We need to. You talking about flowers. We need to understand flowers then.
Yes.
How they bloom for us to be able to test the thing which detects how they bloom.
Good. And what Vitaly rightly mentioned is beautifully, and you saw how he rightly viewed it. He integrated AML with IoT, right? He saw the drone measure the flowers. You have a view of how much of flowers actually going to end up in a seed and into a fruit, right? That's where AML comes. Maybe if he does it over a period of year and start putting the data for a 4-year period, he can actually tell in summer 90% of my flowers will turn into seed and become fruit, which I can sell. Winters, maybe not. So, like, so what we do not see is what IoT doesn't do. Right? We are just blindly using and something fails. Right? We launched our digital sunset. Digital sunset is our parliament or digital. Do you know what happened? Our MLAs, so the digital sunset was all our MLAs, MPs never used to attend our parliament regularly. I mean, let's be honest about it, right? So they did, so we are smart people, we are techies, right? We put solutions in front of problems, right? So we actually created a digital center where our parliamentarians actually could log in from wherever they are into a digital parliament. What did our parliament MLAs do? They share the password to somebody. The proxy, they actually proxy, right? And now they are actually credentialing it. So the IoT has a greater impact. You are actually putting lives at stake. So there was a case where a person had a cardiac machine which was supposed to be running 24/7 and that was losing lives. Military warfare. All our soldiers are using you would have seen in the Hamas wars or in the, they send unmanned soldiers to detect your landmines or to save people. What if it fails in the critical operation? So we don't understand. So the impact is huge, guys. So we're not, what we see is only the visual part of it, app failures, network failures, connectivity not being there. Like even now, I don't think any of us can confidently say my device works anywhere. Even a phone don't work. You go to a pilgrimage on top of your phone, start losing network. Forget about it. So there are a lot of fallouts. We still don't have connectivity. With the app itself saying, we are restricted. This is the application type that all of us can see. But dig down 2 levels deeper, what we do not see is there's a restricted viewpoint. IoT devices don't talk to each other, or is completely localized, right? People in a particular language or a particular job, only they use it, it's not broadly. Heterogeneous device. You see the number of devices. You have your devices which can turn your bulb on, but you have another device to turn on Alexa, and you have some other device to turn on your smart car. So there are multiple devices not even integrated. I would want to be, I mean, if I want to visualize, I want to have perfect view. I want to be devices from standing where I am. I don't have to use multiple access points to reach out to my IoT device. With my voice command, I should be able to switch on my AC in my car. With my voice command, I should be able to switch off my AC in the home. With my voice command, I should be able to turn on my smart device, like, or if I'm monitoring my baby with my smart service, I should be able to. All the activities are, it's totally disintegrated. Do the IoT device talk to each other? No, they don't. Two, you don't have a legacy ITs. Like, all of the systems are in your SAP, ERP, they're all sitting in their own virtual world, right? So they are like your grandmothers, grandfathers, sitting in the villages, don't want to come to Bangalore because they're comfortable there. And IoT areas are you guys, right? You are in Bangalore, in the hottest of house, stand-up comedies, you call a grandmother, they won't come. So your legacy system, mainframe, they still exist. I still know folks who are using green screen still, right? All your airline systems use your green screen system. They're not even talking to your current systems and forget even IoT. So who's going to integrate all of those, right? And when you integrate, what falls out is all the issues that we have. So there is a huge scope for IoT testing. Right? Where do we start? So to solve a problem, you need to understand the problem. Right? We just block everything, right? So I was asking Vitaly, how do you like Bangalore traffic? He loves it.
It was okay, it was 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. And he was stuck when you jam 5 a.m. in the morning, like, what do you test it? Yeah. Exactly. Right. So where we are lacking is the physical level. This needs a separate skill set. We need engineers with embedded system knowledge. We need device mechanical engineers. You need electrical engineers. You need folks who can touch and feel things on the ground to test this thing. This is not going to be software testing, so you have to literally get your hands dirty. Right. So I know automotive firm, they have a self-driven car in Bangalore imported from US. They've torn it apart just to understand it, to see how it works, how it doesn't work. Right. I've spoken to tobacco manufacturers who wants to know, if I feed in X amount of tobacco, how much of cigarettes will I get? How will you measure? Not just weight, because you have to go to the grind, the rollers will be there, you have to wrap it up, you have to measure each cigarette, right? So, but he's saying, how am I going to test it? I have had a video surveillance manufacturer saying that, look, I have video surveillance, but I cannot integrate it with my software because I don't know, because the video surveillance takes snapshots of that. So there's a lot of testing, but nobody is currently doing physical level because it needs a lot of investment and test upon what you need to get there. Right? So that's a layer we need to do. And like you mentioned, it's not just physical layer, then you need to test the rest of the layers also to see if it works. So where does it actually fit in? So like I took an example of the autonomous radio. Right? So we have a smart car that's out there. So on the top, what we have done is, this can come for any other field. I'm taking an example of a smart car. So you take a smart car as a device, or it can be any other device. You just break down what are the respective components and find out what are we going to test. So at the bottom is where we are superficially laid the testing part of it. There are about 4 items. One is actual device and network, then the application connected to the cloud and interface, integration to the overall life cycle, and user experience. So you branch out, find out what is your end device going to do, then break out your functionalities, think that what am I going to test. So we are testing an autonomous car, even way back 7, 8 before Tesla came to it. Right? So when people switch over lanes, it will automatically turn on indicator. When somebody rams it automatically. Cars have features now, but 7, 8 years people in India we have not even heard about it. Right? This was maybe in the US people have, but we are actually testing something like this. Right? So you actually have to have the device in place to test it. So you need to do a substantial amount of investment in the infra. So somebody need to have the device to test it, even medical device. So we literally had to have MRI scanners in the system to scan it. So you need to have the devices. Then how do you do the integration test? Right? So this is where we need to one. I'm not talking about life cycle out there. It's about where does Tesla get engaged in the entire IoT life. So you need to be the core of the engineering team to do this. The last thing we are very clear, app integration life cycle. What I would recommend is, I mean, it does take a little bit of upskilling. You need to do coding in embedded system. But there are all smart kits also available. So if you're not engineer or if you're not able to coding, not to worry. There are a lot of devices that help electronic test upon that, right? But at the end of the day, you need to ensure all of these needs an ecosystem of IT. Now, what do I mean by that? Testers need to talk to engineering firms, they need to talk to software firms, they need to talk to the startup which are actually integrating the interfaces, and we need to build an ecosystem of IT. This is a chance that you're sitting on. So for all your testers who are driving your testing business, you're sitting on a gold mine. If you're able to put together an IoT, a testing framework, which covers software, system, and the entire ecosystem, you are sitting on a gold mine. I know we started late, so I'll try not to finish late. So maybe we'll try to think if you want to take a snapshot. How do you even get there? So there are a lot of firms who've already invested in applications. The right hand side is all of us know, right? Postman, Catalan, Python, Cucumber, IoT. How do you know what's the latest tool in the market? Any idea? It's called Watermelon. How many of you heard of Watermelon? So yesterday I spoke to a client who says, I want to use Watermelon, can you do a cross comparison with Tosca? So I took first I'll cut the watermelon, and then put cucumber on it, and then see if you can put some Java. So I don't know if you're moving for a lunch buffet or a testing marathon, so I'm getting confused. But anyway, on the right hand side is where you have the tools such as Fiddler, Postman, Lambda test. These guys, we're not promoting anybody, but these guys have already invested in building frameworks around IoT systems. So if you want to experiment, pick up any of these, install your system, and see if you can connect, right? And they let you play around with your system. What do you need to do? So you need to have IoT skills, certification. I'm promoting Unicorn. No. So basically there are a lot of testing certifications. Some of the basic testing, but probably I wanted to focus on the right hand side. You need to have programming, networking, domain, usability. So we have to put, I put a list, maybe we can do a network of what you do. But what you, that's for the individual folks, like you want to upskill yourself. Individually, yes. But what if an organization, right? If you are leading a testing team and if you are wanting to invest in IoT, what is that you need to do? So we have broken three different segments, right? On the inside, all of us have to invest in our infra, right? It's just not enough saying, look, I'm going to go start IoT testing today. You need to plan for what domain, because there are huge investments out there, right? So if you decide on what domain you want to operate on, what is the field of specialization you want, then you choose your infra. If you're going to automotive cars, if you're into medical, or if you're into front-end retail device, smart testing. I used to work for FedEx about 2 years back in the US, right? So at the time, delivery using tracking device was unheard of. Now you are Amazon, Swiggy's who come in, swipe in, and then you give a QR code. 10, 15 years back, tracking 2.7 trillion transactions per day was a miracle. And FedEx and UPS were the first one to have handheld devices to record a shipment and then deliver it, right? And we used to test that. We used a point of sale machine where they come back and dock it, and then in the end of the day they'll figure out, I've done say 15 shipments, 10 shipments, you aggregate it to 2.7 trillion, right? We're actually testing smart devices long time back. It's not like it did not exist, but what did FedEx do to do that? They invested heavily in every FedEx employee had a handheld tracker. I mean, they as well as a laptop tab that you have now. It was very unfriendly, but it was made their life easier, right? They knew where they had to go, they knew. So the first thing as an organization, all of you need to invest in the infra that you need. Invest in the framework to integrate that infra to your existing infra, right? I know some of you would have heard that 5 lakh robo you get. There's a firm which invested 5 robos of that, and the robo, you could take the robo, configure it to do whatever you want. But the basic feature was the robo could dance. So they bought 5 robos, and whenever they go for client demos, the 5 robos used to dance together. Because they did not integrate the robos with the software. I mean, the first 1 year they literally figuring out, but they had to do how can we probably do a, I mean, the use cases were incredible, right? So you have infinite number of use cases, but they could not integrate the robos with the rest of the infra, but they ended up using. So have an integration layer, see how you can integrate your physical devices. I'm just giving it a use case on a humorous note, but on a serious note, you invest 1 lakh, 2 lakh, or even 3-4 crore investment on a device, and if you're not able to integrate the system, there's no point in buying it, right? So you need to work on the integration layer, build capabilities and teams in the house. So you need to hire electrical engineers, electronic engineers, put them along with a software team, and then make sure they work together, right? And then the fourth bit is create an internal reseller model. What do I mean by that? So whenever you have a new product, first you have to convince your rest of the firm that it works, right? You might have firms that you might have 10 different clients, each of them might be in different ways. Invest in it, make sure that you do an internal selling first, and the benefit of that, you get a lot of low-hanging fruits, right? You already have a client, like point of sale machine, right? I know people are doing payments testing, right? They are doing ATM testing, and I know companies in Chennai which has 100 odd ATM machines sitting just to test, right? But you should software testing for it. Why don't you find the clients who are into software and systems already? Put them as a point of view, right? So start with that, right? And then start innovation inclusion on top of it. So that's the inside view. What's the outside view? You cannot do everything alone, I'll tell you guys, right? If you want to do IoT testing, you cannot say that I have the device, I have the interface, I do the testing. You cannot do everything. Find out people. Imagine what will happen if a G works with a Daimler, right? So we have people who, most of the heart attacks happens while they're driving, right? If a Daimler can connect with G and heart manufacturing unit can connect tell them a device, smart car say, and if there's a heart attack on the car, it can automatically tell he's having a medical issue, pass it off the car can drive to the hospital. Just give me one use case. Talk about if industries can talk to each other. So find your alliance ecosystem. Engage with IoT communities. There are lots of IoT firms even in Bangalore, right? So talk to them, right? Finally and beyond, right? So ecosystem use the accelerators, what they build, and stay informed about it. So that's all I have to say. With that, I'm sorry, I'm running out of breath. But that's all I had. I had a lot of other things to say. I'm cutting it short. I know a lot of people follow me. So, but any doubts, any clarifications, I'm around. And most of the time, my name is Rajesh. So, thank you so much. That's all I have to say. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rajesh. Questions from the audience? Do we have any? Raise a hand. Thanks very much.
So, official photo is great. Thank you so much, sir.